Emotional abandonment and neglect is extremely common in our society, and I believe it's one of the main reasons for why we have so much mental health problems, so many people out here with anxiety and depression, so many people out here abusing drugs and alcohol. It's because we haven't been taught how to deal with our emotions properly. We haven't been taught how to heal from our traumas. So this is why I believe we have such a huge problem around emotional intelligence. So you think back to like our parents, our grandparents, great-grandparents, and the sort of era they grew up in. Like, there's a lot of emotional neglect where, for example, comments like, you're a kid and you're crying. Oh, stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. That's emotional neglect. So as a human being, we have emotions. You have every right to feel how you feel. And no one has any right to tell you to stop crying if you feel like crying. But that's a common thing that was said to a lot of children by their parents back in, our parents' era, grandparents' era. Like, that's not even that long ago. And this is why I wanted to make this video, is because it's like, I believe it's time for a new era. I believe it's time where we start living as healthier human beings that don't suppress our emotions. We acknowledge them and we learn to deal with them in a healthy way. There's other forms of emotional neglect from back in the day where it's, people telling you like, oh, it's not that bad, toughen up. The whole toughen up attitude, especially with men. So when it comes to boys and men and the message they've been sent, you're not allowed to cry. Boys don't cry. You got to toughen up. You're not allowed to express emotions. That's being girly. Like, it's such a wrong message to send to like our boys and our men. This is exactly why our suicide rates are so high with men, because of the conditioning that's been done to them. They can't talk about things because, oh, you've got to toughen up, And so instead they take their lives, and it's time for a change. And part of the reason why I wanted to make this video is to put this message out there, because yeah, I honestly believe it's time for a change, especially like with men and boys, but women too. Like, women have a lot of emotional neglect and abandonment wounds as well, me being one of them. So it's like, we've got to start learning that it's not healthy for us to suppress emotions. You want to process emotions, not suppress emotions. So when you process your emotions, it's like they say you've got to feel them to heal them. So when something's happened, like something bad's happened to me, that's put me in like a low vibe emotional state. I'm either sad or upset or angry or whatever. A lot of people just like to keep busy or distract themselves instead of facing those emotions. And that's the wrong thing to be doing. Instead, for me, it's like I'll sit down. If I just feel like, anxious or depressed or something, I literally take a mental health day and I just literally sit down. I don't do anything because I don't generally feel like doing anything. But I literally will just sit with those emotions and allow myself to just process them. Now think of it like this. So when you have this emotion and then you're suppressing it, think of it like the emotion comes in, you're like, oh, I don't want to feel this isn't good. So you're taking that emotion and you're locking it away in a box. That's suppressing it, right? You're shoving it down, you don't want to know about it. You might be off doing different things to distract you from those emotions you're feeling. Again, could be drugs and alcohol. You're using them as a way to distract you from the feelings or get rid of those feelings. But it's like you're taking them and you're shoving them into a box inside of you and you're locking it up, throwing away the key, don't want to know about it. And then those emotions stay in your body. And it's already been scientifically proven that stored emotions in the body can create diseases. So instead, what you want to be doing with your emotions is to don't suppress them. Like I said, you want to process them, and think of it like this. When you process the emotions, like the emotion comes in, you allow it to be there, you sit with it, like how I sit with it on the couch, I just sit with the emotions, I feel it, I process it, and then it leaves the body. right? That's the difference between processing an emotion to suppressing the emotion. The emotion comes in, you feel it, you process it, leaves the body. When you suppress it, the emotion comes in, you're taking it, you're locking it away in a little box. I don't want to know about it. We can't talk about feelings because of the programming that's been done to us. And then it just stays there and it stays in your body. And it's going to keep creating problems in your life. So this is why I believe it's time for this era to end. Now, this is also, I believe, part of the Great Awakening. So if you don't know about the Great Awakening, because it's a big thing that's happening on the planet right now, either I've got videos on my channel about the Great Awakening you could check out, or look into Dolores Cannon's work. So with the Great Awakening, we are shifting from a low level of consciousness, which is 3D, up to 5D, which is a higher level of consciousness. Now, I've got another video on my channel that shows you the difference between 3D, 4D, and 5D consciousness if you want to check that one out for a bit more information. But if not, check out Dolores Cannon's work because it all comes from her and her hypnotherapy work and the discovery she's made. She's got heaps of books out. So, I just lost my train of thought. The Great Awakening. So with this shift in consciousness from 3D up to 5D, I believe the shift that's going to happen is we're going to become more loving, more compassionate towards others, more like unconditional love. But the other thing is developing more self-awareness. So the problem in 3D is a lot of people don't have self-awareness. And it's not their fault. Again, it comes down to the programming and the conditioning that's been done to us. This spiritual stuff has been purposely kept from us. So being in 3D, people just lack self-awareness. So they can't even acknowledge that they're suppressing their emotions the way they are because they don't have that awareness that's what they're actually doing, and they don't have the awareness of how it's going to affect, how it can create diseases in their body and how it can affect them in negative ways. There's no awareness around it in most people. So with the shift in consciousness to 5D, that means that people are going to start developing more self-awareness. So this is why I believe this is the time where humanity is going to start developing more emotional intelligence, because we're lacking in emotional intelligence. And so that's simply just people becoming more self-aware with their own emotions, more awareness around how to deal with the emotions in a healthy way. There's so many people out here, including me, that are starting these online businesses to be healers, to help heal other people and help them get rid of their traumas. It's pretty much like a movement that's happening on the planet right now. In case if you're wondering why it's so crazy and chaotic, this is all just part of the Great Awakening process and everything that's going on. There's a mass awakening that's happening, and so eventually we're going to be living in a new world, a new earth that's going to be in a different dimension. Again, that's a whole nother story. If you want to learn more, check out the videos on my page. But yeah, I just believe with this shift in consciousness, we are going to be moving into a place where people are going to process their emotions and not neglect them, not ignore them. So I think that's the exciting thing. It's just we need this to happen. When we develop more emotional intelligence, then therefore we are going to be more healthier and happier people. That's what it's going to come down to. And so if you've got kids, if you've got kids, like you're watching this and you're a parent, start teaching them how to deal with their emotions now while they're young. It's the best time to do it. Best time to program them to learn how to actually deal with their emotions in a healthier way, and learning how to just process traumas and deal with a trauma. I mean, at the end of the day, traumas is a part of life. It's a part of being here on the planet. It's part of the experience. But again, we haven't learned how to actually deal with these traumas properly. So humans store them in the body, whereas there are animals in the animal kingdom that instinctively know to shake out the trauma. Like, for example, I've said this on other videos as well. You know, a lion chases down 3 cheetahs. Well, I don't know if lions eat cheetahs. We'll say 3 gazelles. Lion chases down 3 gazelles and then eats a gazelle. 2 of those gazelles get away. Now, what these animals instinctively know to do is they start spazzing the traumatic energy out of the body because they know not to take that energy back to the herd. But humans don't know this. Humans store it in the body instead. So I believe that's part of the the awakening and a part of developing more emotional intelligence is learning how to deal with the trauma instead of storing them in the body. And if you want to know how to get trauma out of the body, you can do that through breath work. Having a breath work session can bring up and release this trauma. And you could even be experiencing anxiety in life and you don't know why you've actually got anxiety, and it could be linked to stored trauma in the body. And then once you clear the trauma out, your anxiety will go with it. It's pretty amazing stuff, but it's the reason I wanted to start this channel up and get into this sort of work. But yeah, so I just think that it's time for humanity to evolve consciously and emotionally, and it's happening on the planet now. And if you want to learn more, check out my videos or check out Dolores Cannon's work. Hope you like this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, or write a comment. And if you like this sort of content, then subscribe and hit the bell notification, because I make daily videos on my channel. So I hope you stick around. Hope I see you on the next one. Peace.